Welcome back everybody. It's a video about Luke's final scene in The Last Jedi, so yeah, spoilers ahead. But first, look at this man here. Yes, it's Ewan McGregor. It looks like he's trying to get into shape for a role in a movie perhaps? That beard looks familiar. I wonder where we've seen it before. Anyways, who wants to hear the reasoning behind Luke's final scene and him fading away? Let's take a look at this article over at Huffington Post. They sure do seem to be getting all the interviews lately. Special effects supervisor Ben Morris described the fatal Last Jedi shot with that memorable sunset as mostly real, though he said the filmmakers added a second sun in post-production. The two suns serve as a callback to the pair of setting stars Luke sees early on in A New Hope. Ultimately, Luke went out the same way he came in. That final sequence was a challenge, however, for editor Bob Duche. It's a purely cinematic scene. There's no dialogue. There's no action. It's all emotion and character and figuring out exactly how to communicate to the audience what we want to communicate, Duche continued. We spent an enormous amount of time on it. Duche told Huffington Post he felt the final cut was a success because it was both nostalgic and hoped for, but after our hero artfully embarrassed the dark side's Ren, some viewers were left wondering, why the heck did Luke have to disappear? I don't want to get too explicit because I like people being able to have their own interpretations, director Rian Johnson told Huffington Post, but I think definitely the act of what he does at the end literally just takes everything out of him. That's a huge thing. Also, he's having his final act be something of myth-making in a way. Johnson continued, it does go back a little bit to what he said at the beginning of The Last Jedi. What do you think one guy walking out there with a lightsaber can do? The answer is, create a legend that will spread hope. And once he's done that, combined with the physical toll it's taken on him, you can make the case that then there's nothing more powerful that he could accomplish. Johnson said he knew early on that The Last Jedi was going to revolve around Skywalker's journey to take on the mantle of the legend of Luke Skywalker, despite the fact that the disillusioned Jedi had rejected that characterization earlier in the film. The galaxy needs legends, Johnson explained. I think about the look in Rey's eyes in The Force Awakens when she says, Luke Skywalker, I thought he was a myth, and that gleam in her eyes. And I think about how I felt when I showed up to work the first day to meet with Mark Hamill, and I sat down and started talking to him, and I could only see Luke Skywalker. He made it very hard to talk, and it's the idea that there's value in that, in terms of inspiring us to fight the good fight and to be our best. Johnson was candid about Luke's death scene, saying he was actually dreading it, but if it was going to happen, it had to be then, he argued. When I realized that that's where Luke was going to get by the end of the movie, and when I realized this was going to be an emotionally rich arc for him, it seemed like if there was a time to give him his moment, this would be it, Johnson said. I wasn't looking forward to it, I was kind of dreading it, but at the same time it felt like the right moment. It felt like the right time in this trilogy. Much like the story of Rey's parentage, Luke's journey may not be over quite yet. After all, with Yoda's cameo in The Last Jedi, it seems like coming back as a Force ghost is always an option. And though Johnson isn't writing the next film, that duty goes to J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. He did talk about how Skywalker could possibly now do more for the galaxy in another form. Johnson said the idea of Luke having passed into another realm and what the potential could be there for his involvement, that seems like it just gives you a whole other realm to get into if Abrams and Terrio choose to in the film. So there you have it peoples, according to Rian Johnson, Luke had to go. It was the right time, and him appearing on Crate is supposed to signify the story of Jesus, I guess. The survivors will spread that story across the galaxy of how Luke Skywalker magically appeared out of nowhere in their darkest hour and took on the whole First Order by himself while they escaped. I guess I understand what he was going for, but I don't know, for me personally that's not the best way that could have been handled, but hey, I don't make films. So why did Rian Johnson kill Luke off? Space Jesus, that's why. You now have your answer. Thanks for dropping by everybody, leave your thoughts down below. To stay updated with this channel, hit that notification bell. Don't forget to like, share, sub and all of that good stuff, and until next time, see yous.